it's great to have the hospitality of the V&A and to be in such a relevant environment for the Firing Up project. At the Crafts Council, our goal is to make the UK the best place to make, see, collect and learn about contemporary craft, and Firing Up is at the centre of our learning agenda.
I think back to my own teacher training days, learning how to use a kiln, and in the past 17 years or so going into schools and seeing dusty kilns sitting in classrooms and not being used, and how sad that is.
We now have teachers who are being taught a sort of fine art model, you know, wrap it and roll it, you know, if it has low footprints. So in schools, they talk about printmaking and painting, the crafts, the sculptural things, the high-cost things. Kilns are used as paint cupboards, you know, and they don't understand why it's connected to the wall. Yeah.
You know, I did woodwork, metalwork, clay at my big, huge comprehensive school. I did a joint in woodwork, I loved it, and then we did a bit of enamelling with a bit of copper, and we cut the metal, and we learned about the materials. And I think it's this, once you learn the basic nature of a material, you get a common sense that's not just about art, it's a common sense about your own self and about things in life. It's a sort of trickling across of everything, and it's fearful. I mean, I remember Duncan saying to me 15 years ago, if he'd went into a school and he put a piece of clay in front of every kid, and he'd say, don't touch it now, I'm just going to explain this to you. He said, their hands would be in it, and they'd be doing, he'd say, no, don't touch it yet. But now you do it, you go into school, you put it in front of the kid. I don't know if this is true, you know, because I'm not at that stage anymore, working on that level with individual children. They don't want to touch it. You know, they look at it and they poke it and they're not sure, you know, they're scared of the material. And it's the getting dirty they don't like, or damaging their nail, I don't know.
And since working at the V&A and recently with the ceramics galleries opening and the number of people who've been inspired by those galleries, I'm really excited about how all the schools working on this project are going to be re-energised about ceramics and come here, see those ceramics galleries and work with the Crafts Council and other professionals to reignite a passion for ceramics in education.
There's actually there's a paper that was published a few years ago by an educational psychologist called Dr. Eric Sigman, and he wrote in a paper called Practically Minded, and it was about engaging school kids, children, various levels, through the crafts, through haptic engagements, through handling material, through understanding it. And he made some really interesting points. One of them that I really like, he actually said that craft education was good for society. That children learn weird things like patience. You learn to sort of wait for the kiln, you know, all those, like, people might have learning difficulties, but here when they're faced with this material that they're really engaged with, other spin-off extracurricular activities arrive. And I think that's a really interesting sort of phenomenon. It's not just what you are learning, but it's also the other things you get from it.
When design and technology came in, fair play, it was a whole new thing. You know, I mean, 30 years ago we had a sort of funny tape recorder, we learned French with headphones, and that was like space-age technology. And that's all sort of, I feel that design and technology really pushed the crafts aside, and it pushed that common sense and that touchiness aside, and the government should be funding this.
Firing Up emerged through a conversation at a Crafts Council conference a couple of years ago, in a climate of course closures and all those anecdotal tales of dusty kilns just being used for storage.
One of the things I'm struck by this programme, I was a bit of a sort of stalker of this programme for about 2 years, because I'd see Duncan at various events. What's going on with this Firing Up thing? You know, because this is a great programme. This is sort of going to reverse a irreversible trend.
It's an ambitious national programme, as Cara was saying, to reawaken kilns in schools all over the country and introduce thousands of children to the joys of clay.
But you've all entered into a community of practice, a really important thing, and your children at the schools, they're on the edge of it. The teachers who are teaching in the Twilight programme, they're coming into the centre of it, and we've got makers involved who are further into this, but this is a really, really important network.
So designed to be replicable and scalable, the programme's constructed around the ceramics departments of higher education institutes in the London cluster. Of course, that's at the University of the Arts and Central St Martin's.
I mean, this is going to 55 schools, ideally, over 3 years. How many schools are there in England? It's not enough. You know, it's brilliant, And Rob was saying it's the sort of viral effect of the teachers teaching the pupils and, you know, the trickle down, if you like. So it's going to reach thousands of kids, but it is not enough.
I have to say that already we've got extra schools who want to be engaged on another level, but we won't unfortunately be able to fund them, but we're going to make our material and the training material that we have available to them so that they can engage as well.
So it's a really, really well thought through programme, and I have to say that I'd like to take credit for that, but I didn't write the programme, but they've done a really good job, and the funders have stepped up to the plate and supported what I think will be a really, really important event. I can actually see this rolling out to the other crafts. I actually think we'll end up with a glass one or a wood or metal. I really feel this is a sort of model that will be transferable.
So Firing Up the plan is to raise awareness of the importance of clay in our everyday lives and to support schools to use clay creatively and confidently and encourage children to view ceramics as a viable career option and also show them examples of people who've done that.
The reason I'm there is because I fell in love with pottery at school, at a big, rough, comprehensive school on the outskirts of Bristol. 1,400 kids, I think it was the biggest comprehensive school in the country at the time. It was a rough school. But under the stairs, through these dusty doors, was Pete Evely, this potter, who was quite sexy, I have to say. But he was there, and all the kids were throwing the clay on the ceiling and throwing it at the door. But I remember I went into the school at age 11, pulling myself up outside the window, because we weren't allowed in until we were 13, into this particular room, and seeing through the glass, the dirty glass, it was so messy, he wasn't a very tidy potter, and just seeing all these jars on the shelves and seeing the kiln and seeing the stuff. What's that? And it really was a sort of eureka moment in my life. And I got in there. I used to go in at lunchtimes and get thrown out. He used to say, "Get out, you're not old enough," you know, because he was under pressure with huge classes and everything else. But I started doing ceramics then and just fell in love with it. I did my foundation, thought I might change my mind, trying everything else, but no, just tunnel vision.
This is something I believe in. For a long time I tried to be a one-man crafts council, and I was rubbish at it. The crafts council are really good at it.
But I think it's absolutely fabulous. And Katie sent me up the paperwork for this at the week up to my studio, and I was blown away. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And I think it really is a way forward for things. I got emotional because I feel so strongly about it.
Okay, I'd really like to thank you for coming, and there's wine and nibbles downstairs, and if you've got questions or got things you'd like to discuss, feel free. Okay, thank you very much.
So really interesting. This sound, right? Well, I'll show you. Sorry.
You can see looks like now that on the sand.
It's moving quite fast. It's hard. It's solid. Working. It makes it soft. And you can use. I mean, I've got a signal generator. He's back. That's cool flour. They've got in the science lab. But any piece.
Technology into these Sorry, I'm having a go.
Yeah, for the car.